Let's strip away the filters for a moment, because the truth about attraction doesn't live in polite conversations or socially approved opinions. It lives underneath all of that, in the quiet reactions women don't explain, in the emotions they feel before logic has time to intervene. Most men never see this layer. They listen to words, they analyze statements, they follow advice that sounds respectful and safe, and then they wonder why nothing works. The reality is that attraction is not built on what women say they want, but on what their nervous system responds to automatically. And that response is often darker, more primal, and far more honest than anything they would ever admit out loud. Women don't wake up thinking, "I want psychological intensity," or "I crave emotional dominance." That's not how desire works. Desire happens first in the body, then in the emotions, and only later does the mind try to justify it. This is why women often feel attraction toward men who don't match their stated preferences, and why they lose interest in men who technically do everything right. It's not hypocrisy, it's biology and psychology operating beneath awareness. And once you understand that, everything changes. Today, we're uncovering 7 deep psychological truths about what women secretly crave from men. These aren't dirty in a physical sense. They're dirty in a psychological sense, because they expose instincts women are taught to suppress, deny, or reframe in socially acceptable language. This is not about manipulation. It's not about tricking anyone. It's about understanding how attraction actually forms so you stop sabotaging yourself by relying on surface-level advice that ignores human nature. Most men lose before the game even begins because they confuse attraction with approval. They try to be liked instead of felt. They try to be safe instead of compelling. And they try to win a woman's mind while completely ignoring her emotional and instinctual responses. Attraction does not come from logic. It comes from emotional polarity. From contrast. From the way a man carries himself when no one is watching and no validation is being offered. The first truth women almost never admit is this: she secretly wants a man who takes control confidently, not forcefully. This desire exists even in women who are highly independent, educated, successful, and vocal about equality. Independence does not cancel instinct. A woman can be powerful in her life and still crave masculine leadership in her romantic dynamic. Not because she wants to be controlled, but because she wants to relax. Leadership, when done correctly, feels like relief, not restriction. Every day, a woman is managing countless decisions. She's navigating social expectations, emotional labor, problem-solving, self-presentation, and internal regulation. Her mind rarely gets a break. And when she's around a man she's attracted to, she doesn't want to keep leading. She wants to feel like she can step out of control mode and into presence. That shift only happens when a man demonstrates calm certainty. Not loud dominance, not aggression, but grounded direction. When a man hesitates constantly, asks permission for every move, or defers every decision back to her, he doesn't come across as respectful. He comes across as unsure. And uncertainty does not feel safe at an instinctual level. Women respond emotionally to men who move with clarity. When you choose a direction without anxiety, when you guide without explaining yourself excessively, when your decisions feel natural rather than performative, something in her nervous system settles. She feels held, not managed. This is why leadership is attractive when it's internal. A man who knows himself doesn't need to prove control. He simply moves, and others follow. That kind of leadership doesn't require force because it's rooted in self-trust. And when a woman senses that you trust yourself, she finds it easier to trust you too. Attraction deepens when she feels that being with you means fewer decisions, not more. That she can lean into the moment instead of steering it. The second truth is just as uncomfortable. She wants playful challenge, not constant niceness. Many men believe being agreeable, supportive, and endlessly accommodating will create attraction. In reality, it often does the opposite. Niceness without edge creates emotional flatness. And flatness kills desire. Women crave emotional movement. They want to feel something when they interact with you. Playful challenge creates that movement. Teasing, when done with warmth and confidence, communicates several things at once. It shows that you're not intimidated by her. It shows that you're socially intelligent enough to read tone and timing. And it shows that you're secure enough in yourself to engage without trying to impress. This kind of interaction creates emotional tension, and tension is the engine of attraction. When a man never challenges, never pushes back, never playfully disrupts her expectations, he becomes predictable. Predictability is comfortable, but it's rarely exciting. Women remember how you made them feel, not how polite you were. Playful teasing creates micro moments of surprise. It breaks the script. It keeps her emotionally engaged. Her mind stays present because she can't fully anticipate your response. The key difference is intention. Playful challenge comes from curiosity and confidence, not insecurity. It's never meant to wound. It's meant to spark. When a woman feels that a man can spar verbally without hostility, she senses emotional strength. She feels that he can handle pressure, disagreement, and intensity without collapsing or becoming defensive. That resilience is deeply attractive because it signals stability under emotional load. The third truth cuts even deeper. She wants to chase you emotionally, even if she would never phrase it that way. Humans value what they invest in. Effort creates attachment. When a man is immediately available, overly eager, and emotionally transparent from the start, there's nothing for her to lean into. Her emotional system stays passive. Desire requires participation. This doesn't mean ignoring her or playing games. It means having a life that is already full. Purpose, direction, commitments, and self-respect naturally limit availability. When your time feels valuable, your attention feels earned. And when a woman has to earn emotional access to you, she becomes invested. Investment deepens attachment. The mistake most men make is thinking effort alone creates attraction. In reality, attraction grows when effort is reciprocated, not handed over unconditionally. When a woman feels that your presence is something she has to engage with, not something she automatically receives, her emotional energy shifts toward you. She thinks about you more. She initiates more. She cares more, because now she has something at stake. Attraction intensifies when uncertainty exists within safety. When she doesn't fully know where she stands emotionally, but feels grounded enough to explore it. This balance keeps her engaged without feeling threatened. And it only works when your scarcity is real, not manufactured. A man with purpose doesn't need to pretend to be unavailable. His life simply requires his attention. The fourth truth is one most men misunderstand completely, because it sounds dangerous on the surface but is deeply rooted in female psychology. Women are drawn to men who have a dark side, not chaos, not cruelty, not recklessness, but controlled danger. This doesn't mean being toxic or aggressive. It means possessing strength, intensity, and the capacity for confrontation, while having the discipline not to unleash it unnecessarily. A man without a dark side doesn't feel safe. He feels incapable, and incapability is one of the fastest attraction killers there is. From an instinctual perspective, women evolved to be attracted to men who could handle threats. That threat could be physical, social, emotional, or situational. In modern life, danger doesn't look like wild animals or rival tribes. It looks like pressure, conflict, disrespect, chaos, and uncertainty. When a woman senses that a man folds under stress, avoids confrontation at all costs, or becomes passive when challenged, something inside her disengages. Not because she wants drama, but because her subconscious asks a simple question: if things get hard, will he hold steady? Controlled darkness answers that question. When you are calm but not harmless, when you are kind but not weak, when you are grounded but not passive, you create contrast. And contrast is deeply attractive. Women want to feel that you could be dangerous if pushed, but that you choose restraint. That choice signals mastery. Anyone can be aggressive. Very few can be powerful and restrained at the same time. This is why women are often drawn to men who have intensity in their eyes but control in their behavior. Men who don't flinch when challenged. Men who set boundaries without raising their voice. Men who don't explain themselves endlessly when they're disrespected. That quiet strength communicates competence. It says, I know who I am, and I don't need to prove it. The mistake many men make is thinking they need to perform darkness. They try to act mysterious, aloof, or emotionally unavailable in artificial ways. Women sense that immediately. Authentic darkness isn't an act. It's depth. It's the understanding that you are capable of intensity, but you are not ruled by it. That depth creates intrigue because it signals that there is more beneath the surface. Layers, complexity, substance. The fifth truth is closely connected to this. She wants you to pull back just enough for her to miss you. Constant presence kills polarity. When a man is always available, always responsive, always emotionally accessible, he removes the space where desire grows. Desire needs room to breathe. It needs absence to sharpen itself. This doesn't mean disappearing. It means not centering your existence around her. When your attention is always on her, she unconsciously feels responsible for you. And responsibility is not sexy. Attraction thrives when she feels that you are choosing her, not depending on her. When you pull back naturally, because you're engaged in your own life, her imagination activates. She wonders what you're doing. She feels the gap, and that gap creates emotional tension. Tension pulls her toward you. Not out of anxiety, but out of curiosity and desire. Men often confuse availability with reliability. They think responding instantly proves interest. In reality, emotional steadiness proves interest. A man who responds when he can, without urgency or anxiety, signals confidence. He signals that his world is full. And a full world is magnetic. This balance is critical. Too much distance feels cold. Too much closeness feels suffocating. The sweet spot is presence without pressure. When a woman feels that you're grounded enough to step away without disappearing, she feels safe enough to lean in. That push-pull dynamic isn't manipulation. It's polarity. The sixth truth is one that separates boys from men. She wants you to tell her no. Not angrily, not defensively, calmly, without explanation, without fear of losing her. Boundaries are one of the strongest indicators of self-respect. And self-respect is foundational to attraction. When a man says yes to everything, he communicates that he has no standards. That his needs are flexible. That her approval matters more than his integrity. Women don't consciously desire dominance over men, but they instinctively lose attraction to men they can control. Control kills polarity. When you say no to something that doesn't align with you, you demonstrate emotional independence. You show that your sense of self is stable. That you don't abandon your values for validation. This triggers respect at a deep level, even if she doesn't like the answer in the moment. Women often test boundaries unconsciously. Not to be manipulative, but to assess strength. They push to see where the frame is. And when a man holds that frame calmly, without argument, something shifts. She feels contained. She feels grounded. She feels that she's dealing with someone solid. A man who can walk away doesn't need to threaten it. The energy is felt. When she senses that you don't need her to validate you, but you choose her, attraction stabilizes. Desire grows in the presence of choice, not dependency. The seventh and final truth is the deepest one, and the one most men never fully grasp. Women don't want to be controlled physically. They want to be claimed emotionally. There is a massive difference. Emotional ownership isn't about possession. It's about presence. It's about consistency. It's about depth of connection. When a woman feels emotionally claimed, she feels chosen at the core of who she is. Not just desired, but seen. Not just wanted, but understood. This kind of bond doesn't come from intensity alone. It comes from reliability over time. From emotional leadership. From protecting her heart, not just her body. When you create emotional safety while maintaining masculine polarity, something profound happens. She lets go. She stops guarding. She opens fully. And when a woman opens emotionally to a man she respects, attachment becomes loyalty. Not because she's trapped, but because she's anchored. This is where attraction transforms into devotion. Where desire evolves into commitment. And it happens naturally when a man embodies strength, boundaries, depth, and presence without needing to perform or manipulate. This is the instinct women rarely articulate. The desire to surrender emotionally to a man who can hold her without losing himself. When she feels that, her nervous system settles. Her attraction deepens. And her loyalty solidifies. Now that you understand these 7 psychological truths, it's important to see how they connect into one complete picture, because attraction is never about isolated behaviors. It's about coherence. It's about the way a man shows up consistently across moments, pressure, silence, and uncertainty. Women don't fall in love with tactics. They fall in love with patterns. And the patterns you project emotionally determine whether she feels calm, curious, excited, or detached around you. Most men fail not because they lack looks, money, or status, but because their internal state is fragmented. One moment they're confident, the next they're seeking approval. One moment they're leading, the next they're apologizing for existing. That inconsistency creates emotional instability, and emotional instability kills attraction. What women crave at a deep level is not perfection, but groundedness. A sense that the man they're with knows who he is regardless of circumstances. This is why understanding female psychology is not about changing yourself into something artificial. It's about removing the behaviors that dilute your presence. It's about subtracting neediness, over-explanation, validation-seeking, and fear-driven reactions. When those are gone, what remains is naturally attractive. Confidence stops being something you perform and becomes something you embody. A man who leads confidently doesn't do so to impress. He does it because hesitation doesn't define him. A man who teases playfully doesn't do so to provoke reactions. He does it because he's emotionally relaxed. A man who allows a woman to chase emotionally doesn't do so out of strategy. He does it because his life already has direction. A man who carries controlled darkness doesn't do so to intimidate. He does it because he's not afraid of his own power. A man who creates space doesn't do so to manipulate. He does it because his identity doesn't collapse in silence. A man who says no doesn't do so to assert dominance. He does it because he respects himself. And a man who emotionally claims a woman doesn't do so through control. He does it through presence. When all of these qualities exist together, something rare happens. A woman stops scanning. She stops questioning. She stops wondering what else is out there. Not because she's trapped, but because her nervous system feels settled. Attraction at its deepest level is not chaos. It's orientation. The feeling that she knows where she belongs emotionally, even if she can't explain why. This is where many men misunderstand desire. They think intensity comes from drama. In reality, intensity comes from contrast held with instability. A calm man with depth is far more intense than a volatile man with no control. A grounded presence creates far more obsession than emotional roller coasters ever could. When a woman feels both stimulated and safe, her attachment becomes strong and enduring. It's also important to address the misconception that understanding these dynamics makes attraction manipulative. It doesn't. Manipulation relies on deception. What we're talking about here is alignment with human nature. These psychological responses exist whether you acknowledge them or not. Ignoring them doesn't make you more ethical. It just makes you ineffective. When you understand attraction, you can choose to act with integrity instead of confusion. Integrity in attraction means you don't chase validation. You don't perform masculinity. You don't adopt personas that aren't yours. You simply remove the behaviors that signal insecurity and allow your natural strength to surface. Women don't want to be conquered. They want to feel chosen by a man who could walk away but doesn't. That choice is what creates meaning. This is why the man who is capable of being alone is the man women fear losing the most. Not because he threatens abandonment, but because his presence is a gift, not a need. When a woman senses that being with you is a privilege rather than an obligation, her emotional investment deepens. She doesn't just want you. She wants to keep you. And once a woman is emotionally invested, her behavior changes. She becomes more attentive, more affectionate, more loyal, more expressive, not because you demanded it, but because her attachment system has engaged. That engagement is what men often describe as, "she's different with me." And it's not luck. It's psychology responding to stability, polarity, and depth. Attraction is not built by convincing a woman of your worth. It's built by living as though your worth is already established. The moment you stop trying to prove yourself, you start becoming unforgettable. The moment you stop asking for permission to exist, you start commanding presence. And presence is the most seductive trait a man can have. When you walk into a room grounded, when your emotions don't spike at every reaction, when your attention is intentional rather than desperate, people feel it. Women feel it immediately. They may not label it. They may not explain it. but they respond to it. And response is the only truth that matters in attraction. These 7 truths are not rules to memorize. They are reflections of a deeper principle. Women are drawn to men who are internally aligned. Men whose thoughts, actions, and emotions move in the same direction. That alignment creates clarity, and clarity creates trust, and trust allows desire to deepen without resistance. Once you understand this, dating stops feeling confusing. You stop overanalyzing texts. You stop chasing certainty. You stop trying to decode every reaction. You focus inward. You build a life that feels solid. And attraction becomes a byproduct, not a goal. This is the level most men never reach. Not because it's inaccessible, but because it requires letting go of the need to be liked. It requires standing comfortably in your own frame, even when it's tested. And women test what they respect. If you apply these principles with patience and integrity, you'll notice something powerful. Women won't just be attracted to you. They'll feel calm around you, curious about you, drawn toward you without understanding why. And when attraction feels natural instead of forced, relationships become easier, deeper, and far more fulfilling. These aren't tricks, they're truths. And once you see them clearly, you can't unsee them. You'll start noticing how attraction forms around you instead of slipping through your fingers. You'll understand why some men never struggle while others constantly do, even when they try harder. The difference isn't effort, it's alignment. And when you align with how attraction truly works, you stop chasing outcomes and start becoming the cause. That is real power.